How are we going, folks? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin. I'm joined by my hetero life mate, Luke Nash of Maiden Cast and now Pantera Cast coming soon.
Yeah.
And we I just thought we'd now the dust has settled, we'll just do a bit of reflection and tribute really for John Sykes, who sadly passed
That's
away.
off. That's off to the ledge.
Just a couple of days ago of cancer, apparently.
Yeah, that's a shit, mate. I mean, losing someone like that to that wanky fucking disease ain't no good.
Yeah. And I think John was I wouldn't say an unsung hero. He was certainly celebrated and certainly respected amongst his peers. But
he was.
I think now, it's shameful really when someone does die. You look back and you realise just what you had. But the guy had a fantastic catalogue under his belt, and he wasn't so much of a musician in the case of, he formed this band from ground zero and was known for all his life. He kind of jumped from band to band. But let's I think me personally, I've not got everything the guy did, but obviously with being a big Thin Lizzy fan, his time with Thin Lizzy is what I know him predominantly for, while Luke knows him mainly through his Whitesnake years. And so we've got two different perspectives from different points in his career. So I thought, it'd be a good way to share memories from a different age and from a different sort of point of view. But John, born in Reading, and I've just corrected myself because I was always under the impression he was American.
Yeah, no, English is fuck, mate. It's
more for me. But yeah, he came to he broke through really in Tigers of Pan Tang, who did he played on the 1981 Spellbound album,
height of new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah, and that is a phenomenal album. And he did Crazy Nights as well, the same year. Two classics in 1 year. And then 1982 was with Street Fighter, but then obviously Tigers of Pan Tang, but then jumped ship and joined Thin Lizzy for their last album, Thunder and Lightning. And I don't think it can be understated how much John gave that band a shot in the arm. Because as much as I love Thin Lizzy to my core, I personally feel like there was a bit of a creative lag in a couple of albums that came before it. Chinatown, Renegade. I mean, some of these albums have some of my favourite Thin Lizzy songs of all time. Like even Thin Lizzy on a Bad Day was still phenomenal. But I don't think I think Snowy White was a bit of a square peg, so to speak. I don't think he quite fit in with the band. He was a very competent musician, and obviously went on to do some amazing stuff. I think he joined Pink Floyd's live band, and then I think even maybe today he's in Roger Waters' solo band. But yeah, Snowy White, not slouched by any. I think Snowy White was too professional for Thin Lizzy.
There's everything to say.
Yeah, but that's what it was. He was a bit of a straight-laced guy while he was in a dirty rock and roll band. But John Sykes came along, and Thunder and Lightning for me is one of the great underrated rock and/or metal albums. I mean, this album is absolutely phenomenal, and it does feel like Lizzy saw the change in the times, and I think obviously 1983, this is the first Metallica album. Heavy metal was coming right under
full and fast, wasn't it? Yeah.
And Def Leppard, Phil and Lizzy took Def Leppard out on their first tour, and it seemed like metal was definitely fully formed at this point, and it's like Phil and Lizzy went, hold on, come on, we're try this for size. And they for their last album, they just went for it. This is a heavy album, Thunder and Lightning, the title track. This is the one, just a dark and atmospheric song. The beautiful The Sun Goes Down, Holy War, one of the heaviest songs, and in terms of atmosphere as well, the riffage, the solos. Then you've got the song John wrote, Cold Sweat. Megadeth covered that song You know, metal bands to this day cover Cold Sweat.
Yeah.
Someday she's going to hit back. Please don't go. You know, Bad Habits and Heart Attack. It slightly starts to go a little bit thing, but even then, it's bad. And what comes up for it more than makes up for that. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal album. And then he did. You know, like I say, I think he gave the band a shot in the arm. He was
It's
young.
mad hearing you talk about that, because I've never been a massive Thin Lizzy fan. Obviously, I have utmost respect for what their place in history.
In the canon,
I'm a greatest hits guy. I'll freely admit that. But hearing you talk about that, it was so passionate. It was fucking mad.
Yeah,
you know.
And then he did Live Life. This is the final live album. This is because they called it a day, but said like we're going to do a final tour.
Yeah.
So he did the final tour of the band. Did this phenomenal live album. This is particularly good as well. Because all the past guitarists come out on one stage at the end.
Oh, nice.
Fucking awesome. So yeah, setting a fitting send off for the band. I picked up this one later on, but this is actually live at the Reading Festival, 1983. This was the last gig the band did with Phil Lynott on British soil. This was during the final tour. After this, I think they did a couple of gigs in Germany and Sweden, and then that was the end of the tour. But this is the final UK show. But then I guess I'll hand it over to you, because after that he gets snapped up by Whitesnake.
Yeah, because it was obviously they broke up, didn't they? I mean, I didn't know this part of his history, but apparently him and Phil were going to work together on a spin-off, like another band, apparently called Grand Slam. I don't know if you know about that, Joe.
He did do Grand Slam, yeah.
Yeah, because he was keen to work with Phil on that, but because they toured in America.
Grand Slam, yeah, Grand Slam did a lot of gigging. I mean, you've seen my Thin Lizzy retrospective video, of course, Luke. But,
yeah,
it's back there. I can't be bothered to go get it now. But there's a Grand Slam box set out now. But yeah, basically Phil had a bad reputation, and record labels weren't going to touch him because they're like, "There's no way we're giving you an advance, because we know what that's going to get spent on." So Grand Slam were getting a good reputation as a live band, but they couldn't secure a record deal. I don't think John was in. He was in them for a bit. There was a couple of lineup changes. But he was also touring as a solo artist as well. So it's a bit, it's a little bit murky when he was solo, when it was Grand Slam, and what songs. So, but yeah, the potential was there, but sadly it wasn't to be. But yeah, then he jumped on.
But yeah, because apparently, obviously they toured. Thin Lizzy toured with Whitesnake in the States, and David and John became quite good friends. And like when they was getting ready to re-release. Or not re-release, but release Slide It In, I think it was, in America. He said, "Oh, can you do some parts for us, like re-record some parts and that?" And he went to he got Phil's blessing before he did anything, which speaks to his sort of integrity and the character of the guy. You know, I'm not going to shit on this guy. He's fucking. I've been with him. But I've been asked to do this, and he made sure he got the blessing of Phil Lynott, which, like I say, that's class.
And Phil would have given it to him as well.
Yeah, he said he did. You know, and he said, like, I can now sort of do this free. My conscience is clear. I'm not shitting on anybody. So he recorded these tracks, and obviously Slide It In was the first time you started to notice perhaps Whitesnake weren't quite the old classic rock, hoary blues bland that you thought they were.
Yeah.
You started to get the proto early with old Coverdale, starting to probably get influenced by Motley Crue, perhaps, you know, things of that ilk. Because he then, after that, went down really well, and like John joined the band full time, and they started writing in 1985, and they started writing what would become one of the greatest cock rock albums, as I call it, of all time. Unofficially called 1987. Officially, it's just called Whitesnake. But everyone knows it. If you say 1987 to someone of a certain age,
it's like the Black Album. Yeah, Yeah.
You know, it's one of those albums, and it's by far and away. I'll fucking argue anyone on this. It's Whitesnake's best album. If
yeah,
if
that's
you
not
don't
fun.
think
Yeah.
that, you're arguing for the sake of arguing, because yeah, they were great before. This album was phenomenal. This album was fucking wall to wall fucking bangers, just absolute bangers. It was a completely new direction, and like you said, he gave Thin Lizzy a shot in the arm. He fucking certainly did that for David Coverdale.
Mm.
Because
I mean,
Coverdale,
this is one of the most well-known rock songs
oh fucking hell! I
ever.
mean,
Here I go
Coverdale, he's
again.
been in Deep Purple.
You know?
He don't need to prove nothing to nobody.
Yeah.
But his voice went from being here to on 1987 to fucking being up here, and I think it's because of John Sykes. He's writing. He's enabled Coverdale to unleash the beast. So, do you know what I mean? Give him something, food for thought, whatever. He's really pushed Coverdale to the limit, and he's produced, like I say, in my opinion, one of the finest hard rock albums that ever will be written.
One of the finest hard rocks, and one of the most underrated, as I just said. And yeah, so he from 1983 to 1987, he was in Whitesnake.
Yeah,
and then ventured out on his own and did another great album. He did a couple of albums with this band, but predominantly they're known for their debut album, Blue Murder. That's the proper album cover there. And this is it's an 80s gem. I mean, and you're talking about Whitesnake, you know, it's that 80s, it's that pure 80s rock. There's a bit of blues in there, maybe a bit of country swagger on one of the songs. There's an acoustic track on there. And we've got Carmen Apisi. I thought it was Vinny. No, Carmen Apisi on drums, Tony Franklin on bass.
That geezer was a monster on drums. I mean, yeah, he was such a fucking animal. It was unreal.
Yeah, and produced by Bob Rock. But yeah, and this is first time John's on vocals, and he could sing as well, man. So
I don't think I've ever heard it. It's criminally, I've got to say that.
It's a great out. It's yeah. Look, the lineup speaks for itself. It's released in 1988. Right, Tigers of Pan Tang, Thin Lizzy, Whitesnake. Time to go solo now. Basically it was him taking the lead, and this is in the rock canon, but Valley of the Kings is a great song. They did check out the video for Valley of the Kings, mate. It is what would give for a barnet like that? But
he had hair, mate. You can see that in the Whitesnake videos. Fucking hell.
But even the last two tracks, like Ptolemy, I can't remember even Ptolemy, I don't know, but Blackhearted Woman, but even the opening track, Riot. No, so it's a good slice of 80s dirty rock and roll. Good, real good stuff.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah.
And then he went from strength to strength, playing with all different people. But I think he did a couple of solo albums. But yeah, before Thin Lizzy reformed or relaunched with Ricky Warwick on vocals, no, originally John Sykes was on vocals. When Thin Lizzy first reformed, all they did was got a new bass player, Marco Mendoza, and they put out the One Night Only live album, and this is John on vocals and guitar. He was the original vocalist, like original replacement for Phil. Replacement doesn't sound like a nice word, but yeah. And on this particular album, funny enough, Tommy Aldridge is drumming. Brian Downey came and went, really. And he came back for a while after this. But yeah, this is Scott Gorham, Darren Walton. Darren Walton played keyboard on the last 4 Thin Lizzy albums, but was never actually a member of the band. Marco Mendoza, look up Marco Mendoza's CV. It's as long as your arm. John Sykes on vocals, guitar, and Tommy Aldridge on drums. Yeah, this is a tidy little album.
Yeah.
I don't know why he left, to be honest, but after he left, Ricky Warwick stepped up to the plate and it was relaunched after that.
What year was
it?
It
all actually started on this album. When did this come out? 2000.
All right, okay.
And I remember reading a thingy of Dimebag and Vinny, like, we went out drinking, blah, blah, blah. Then we went and went and saw John Sykes with John Sykes with Thin Lizzy. That's what they called the night.
Yeah.
It was
that's mad, isn't it?
But yeah, it's a It's
something
a crying shame. And
what I've
what is
just
he?
read,
65.
something I've
That's
just read,
nothing.
what I didn't know, is in 2011 he was on on that metal show. It was like a talk, like I think it was like a radio show in America.
That metal show, yeah.
Of VH1.
Eddie Trunk.
Eddie Trunk, yes. Apparently he revealed to him that he was forming a new band with Mike Portnoy and Billy Sheehan.
Yeah.
That was a proto Winery Dogs, mate.
Right, yeah,
So
there you
for
go.
whatever reason, John Sykes didn't get involved, and obviously Richie Kotzen came in, and the fucking rest is history. But that's fucking mad, and that tells you that's just another bit about the man, how talented he was as a player. That he's in with Billy Sheehan, who's a fucking bass guitar animal, and Mike Portnoy, who I don't need to fucking talk about Mike Portnoy.
Yeah,
And
you don't need
drums.
to.
He's a
Yeah,
fucking legend. That tells you the fucking musicality of John Sykes. That
yeah,
he's talking about putting a band together with them two savages.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that, like you say, you keep saying underrated, and it's criminal that John Sykes was underrated because he was a fucking player, absolute player, and he wrote the soundtrack to so many people's childhoods. He fucking wrote the soundtrack to mine with 1987. Some of them riffs and them solos, mate. Listen to it in the car on the way home.
Again, this goes all the way back to the new wave of British heavy metal up until today.
Present day,
And
almost, you know. So,
and
like you say, Tigers of Pan Tang to the fucking Winery Dogs, almost. You know, such a broad spectrum of talent and people, and it's a crying shame. You know, it sounds fucking weird, but he's the sort of guy who should have gone out like Nick Menza on stage, having a heart attack, bosh.
Yeah.
Not being fucking eaten down to the bone by some fucking shitty disease, man. He deserves more than that because he's he's got his place in the fucking heavy metal hard rock Hall of Fame.
Absolutely,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He will be in the book of heavy metal, as they call it. And these albums speak for themselves.
Yeah, I fucking do.
This is a guy, you know, every band he joined, he benefited from, and it's evident to see that he benefited every musician he played with.
Oh, fucking hell,
and no one had a bad word to say about him. No. Everyone from Thin Lizzy to Pantera to Mark Portnoy and everyone in between. He gave everyone he played with a shot in the arm. And yeah, it was everyone that played with John improved. Yeah, and I don't think there's a better testament than that.
No, that's it. That's right. And yeah, so here's to you, mate.
Yeah, mine's empty, but
yeah, but you're jamming up there.
One.
Just think the fucking lineup when we eventually shuffle off this Mortal Coil, the fucking gigs we're going to have. There's some absolute killers, isn't there, at the minute up there jamming away.
Yeah, and hopefully you ain't got to pay £100 a ticket either. But we'll
it'll all be free.
That's a rant for another day. Yeah.
But no,
all right, folks. Yeah, come on, John Sykes. What's your favourite album? What's your favourite song? What's your favourite solo by him? Stick it in the comment and let us know your memories of John Sykes. And yeah, John, here's to you, man. Yeah. You were awesome. Godspeed. See you later, guys.
See you later, guys.